My husband, 45-year-old male, and I, 41-year-old female, own a business that frequently depends on mail and delivery. If a shipment is late, it costs the business money. We get a lot of shipments from different carriers, but one consistently fails at delivering on time by about 3 to 4 days, and it infuriates my husband. He would normally give you the clothes on his back to anyone in person. He believes in kindness, and when we do have an argument, rare, he's always there to talk through it, not yelling, and work to make it better. He's also involved. He does all the school events and PTA with our daughter, 11 years old, keeps good relations with the business and our community, but when he's on the phone with a shipper, or this one really, he actually scares me. I've told him to stop, begged him, tried to call them myself, but he's not happy with the outcome, but he won't. When they are late, he will call them and cuss out and yell at multiple employees and supervisors, and a lot of the time they do give wrong or incorrect information, but yelling, verbal abuse, and belittling are not the way to handle it. Right now he's on the phone with them. It woke me up this morning. I told him we could be blacklisted as a business, but he refused to stop as he says it's the only way to get delivery. It bothers my daughter. She's told me at least 4 times about how hearing him scream in the car and cuss at people is stressful and upsetting. He gets scary, like if he yelled at me that way, I would be terrified, so I know what she means. I have threatened to stop my business work because I just cannot stand him verbally harassing these customer service people. He says it's their fault and they should get another job, which he's normally so much more sympathetic, as he knows some people cannot afford or find another job. In person and everywhere else, he is overly nice to customer service, as he knows it is one of the hardest jobs to deal with daily. When this happens, it's scary. It's like some kind of rage I've never seen before in our 13-year relationship. I've tried to talk to him about it numerous times, and he always says he has to do it to get the package. It will really hurt the business if I don't help, and it could quite possibly put the business under. I have another job, but I feel it is detrimental to approve or continue allowing this behavior. It's such a wild thing to stop a business over phony calls, but I'm sick of hearing it 4 or 5 hours a week, and I'm so sad for all the customer service reps who deal with him. Am I the idiot for quitting over his treatment of customer service? This will cost us a lot of money, and my daughter's birthday is in 4 weeks. But I cannot see myself working for a company who verbally abuses people. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. And this is really strange. I understand his frustration, but it seems like he's just expressing his negative energy more than anything. I would ask him if something is wrong personally. Maybe he just needs someone to vent to on a regular basis. That might channel his anger more effectively. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your husband is verbally harassing customer service representatives for something that is out of their control. Also, by default, he is verbally harassing your daughter since she can't get away from it. Why not refuse to use this specific carrier and use the ones he is happy with? Now for the update. The past week has been a whirlwind of tension and unresolved issues. After my last attempt to confront my husband about his behavior on the phone with the shipping company, things have only escalated. He's been on the phone with them almost every day, and each time it's the same story. He yells, curses, and belittles whoever is on the other end. It's gotten to the point where I dread hearing the phone ring because I know what's coming. Our daughter has been more withdrawn lately. She's been spending more time in her room, headphones on, trying to block out the sound of her father's outbursts. I've tried to talk to her about it, to reassure her, but there's only so much I can say when the problem isn't going away. It's clear that this is affecting her deeply, and it breaks my heart. I've reached out to a few friends and family members for advice, but they all seem to think I'm overreacting. They see my husband as the kind, involved father and community member. He is outside of these phone calls. They don't understand the fear and anxiety his anger causes in our home. It's frustrating to feel so alone in this. In a moment of desperation, I even called the shipping company myself, trying to smooth things over and explain the situation. I hoped that maybe if I could get them to understand, they would be more diligent with our deliveries and the calls would stop. But it was a dead end. They were polite but firm, saying that they were doing their best and that the delays were out of their control. My husband found out about my call and was furious. He accused me of undermining him and said that I was making things worse. We had a huge argument, the biggest we've ever had. I tried to explain that I was only trying to help, that I couldn't stand to see him so angry or to hear him treat people that way. But he wouldn't listen. He said that I didn't understand the pressure he was under to keep the business running smoothly. I've been seriously considering quitting my role in the business. The thought of leaving my husband to handle everything on his own is daunting, and I worry about the financial strain it would put on our family. But at the same time, I can't reconcile my values with his actions. It feels like I'm complicit in his abuse if I continue to work alongside him. The situation came to a head yesterday when one of our biggest clients called to check on their order. My husband took the call and I could hear his voice rising from the other room. He was doing it again, unleashing his fury on someone who had nothing to do with the shipping delays. I couldn't take it anymore. I walked into the room and hung up the phone mid-rant. My husband was shocked, and for a moment there was silence. We haven't spoken much since then. He's been avoiding me, and I've been wrestling with my decision. I know that quitting won't solve the problem of his anger, but it might be the wake-up call he needs. I'm torn between my loyalty to my husband and my business, and my need to stand up for what I believe is right. As for the business, we've had a couple of late shipments this week, which has only added to the stress. I've been doing my best to keep things running smoothly, but it's hard to focus when there's so much tension in the air. Our clients are getting restless, and I'm worried that if something doesn't change soon, we could start losing them. And then there's my daughter's birthday coming up. I want it to be a happy time for her, but with everything that's going on, I'm not sure how we'll manage. I've been trying to plan something special, but it's hard to muster up the enthusiasm when our home feels so charged with anger. I'm at a loss for what to do next. I feel like I'm standing at a crossroads with no clear path forward. I know that something needs to change, but I'm not sure I have the strength to be the one to change it. It's a heavy burden to carry, and I'm just hoping for some resolution soon. But for now, the situation remains as tense and unresolved as ever. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Been there. My ex-boss used to turn into a fire-breathing dragon over late shipments. It was like Jekyll and Hyde, I swear. It's tough seeing someone flip like that, especially when it's out of character. But hey, no excuse for verbal abuse, period. Your hubby needs a chill pill and maybe some anger management before he burns bridges or worse, his own family. Comment 2. Oh honey, you're in a pickle, but let's not make sandwiches just yet. You've got to tackle this like a cat with a yarn ball, with positivity. Your man's got the temper of a teapot on the boil and it's time to turn down the heat. Maybe introduce him to yoga or meditation. Imagine him saying namaste instead of blowing a gasket. Worth a shot for peace and quiet, right? Now for the next story. My husband Clark, 30 years old, has a brother. Let's call him Drew, 28 years old. Drew got into some major trouble and got arrested for possession of underage intimacy videos. Clark and I did not find out this information until 3 weeks after it happened, when his mother decided to tell us. Now the only reason she decided to tell us in that moment was because 2 local news articles came out 2 days prior to her telling us. So the timing of everything left my husband and me feeling like if it wasn't for the article, they would have kept it from us longer. In those 3 weeks of not telling, his mom had called my husband to set up a Sunday brunch to celebrate his grandma's birthday, including Drew. This planning, now we know, happened after his brother got arrested. So his mom not only was withholding this arrest, but decided it was a great idea to come over to our house with Drew, knowing what he had done. A key part of our reaction also has to do with the fact that we have a 4-year-old daughter. Obviously, upon hearing the news, my husband and I went into full protective mode and did not want him around our daughter. We invited his mum to come over and tell us exactly why he was arrested, the details. Well, that conversation was a waste of time. The entire time all she did was make excuses for him and assure us that he wasn't a bad person. He just made a horrible mistake. Supposedly, this was a one-time thing that happened only for a month back in summer, and it only happened because he got involved with the wrong crowd. The thing is, he got arrested not only for possession, but also for distribution of said pictures. For those who will ask why we spoke to his moom and not him, Drew still lives at home with their moom, and he never reached out to Clark once Clark found out. Our best option at that point was his moom. My immediate response, obviously, is I don't want to see Drew or have him around my daughter. To me, the trust was broken not only with his brother for obvious reasons, but his mom who kept this information from us. How could I trust her to keep my child safe when she chooses to protect her son? Another important thing to note about my response is that I was sexually abused by family members when I was a young child. So anything involving minors makes me even more sensitive. I take my job to protect my daughter very seriously, and I would rather be overprotective in these matters than underprotective. Anyways, his family thinks we're overreacting and are making us out to be the bad guys because we're not supporting Drew in this difficult time. So am I the jerk for basically not wanting his brother around my daughter and me? Also, to add, my husband fully supports my decision and understands where I'm coming from. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. You and your husband are on the same page, thankfully, and that is to protect your child. Anyone saying you are overreacting is an enabler. Comment 2. Not the idiot all the way. Trust your gut on this one. Statistically, this was not a one-time thing. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. It's been a rough couple of weeks since I last shared what was going on with my husband's brother, Drew. I appreciate the support and advice everyone gave. Since then, things have escalated. My husband Clark and I decided to set clear boundaries with his family, especially concerning our daughter. We told his mom that Drew is not allowed to be anywhere near our daughter, and we would not be attending any family events if he was present. This did not go over well. Clark's mum has been calling non-stop, trying to guilt us into changing our minds. She keeps saying that we're tearing the family apart and that Drew is already paying for his mistakes. She's been trying to get other family members to talk to us too, hoping they could convince us to forgive and forget. Clark's aunt even tried to mediate a meeting between us and Drew, which we flat out refused. The tension has been affecting Clark a lot. He's caught between wanting to protect our daughter and feeling like he's abandoning his brother. I keep reminding him that our daughter's safety comes first, but it's clear he's struggling with the whole situation. He's been quieter than usual and I can tell he's stressed. We've had a few arguments about it, mostly because he feels torn and I'm adamant about keeping our boundaries firm. Drew, on the other hand, has not reached out to us directly. But we've heard through the grapevine that he's been playing the victim, saying that we're overreacting and that he's being ostracized for a mistake. It's infuriating to hear that he's not taking full responsibility for his actions and is trying to downplay the severity of his crimes. The worst part is, some family members are buying into his story. They're starting to say things like, everyone deserves a second chance and he's still family. It's like they're completely ignoring the gravity of what he did. It's been incredibly frustrating to deal with their attitudes on top of everything else. Clark's relationship with his mom has been the most strained. She's been trying to manipulate him into forgiving Drew, using their close relationship as leverage. Clark is hurt by her actions and feels betrayed that she kept this from us for so long. They've had a few heated phone calls where he's tried to explain our position, but she's not really listening. It's like she's in denial about the whole thing. As for me, I've been having a hard time dealing with my own emotions. The situation has brought back memories of my past abuse, and I've been feeling anxious and on edge. I've started seeing a therapist to help me work through these feelings, but it's a slow process. I'm trying to stay strong for my daughter and my husband, but some days are harder than others. Our daughter is thankfully oblivious to the family drama, but I worry about the day she starts asking questions. We've been careful to keep her away from any conversations about Drew and the situation, but kids are perceptive. I dread the thought of having to explain to her why she can't see certain family members. The upcoming holidays are looming over us, and I'm not sure how we're going to handle them. Clark's family is big on getting together, but there's no way I'm going to put my daughter in a situation where she might be around Drew. We might have to start our own traditions this year, away from the rest of the family. It's been a lonely and isolating time. I feel like we've lost a part of our support system, and it's been tough to deal with the backlash. Clark and I are trying to stay united in front of his family, but it's clear that this situation is taking a toll on our marriage. We're both stressed and on edge, and it's been hard to find moments of peace amidst all the chaos. I never thought I'd be in a situation where I'd have to protect my child from her own family. It's a heartbreaking reality that we're trying to navigate the best we can. The unresolved tension and emotional turmoil are constant, and I'm not sure when or if things will ever get better. Now for the comments. Comment 1. You're absolutely right to protect your daughter and set those boundaries. Trust is earned, not given, and your mother-in-law's lack of transparency is a red flag. Stick to your guns and maybe seek some family counselling to help navigate these choppy waters. Comment 2. I had a similar situation with a relative's criminal past. It's tough, but you've got to put your kids' safety first. The holidays were awkward, but we found new traditions that worked for us. It gets easier with time, and those who truly care will understand. Now for the next story. We recently moved house. There is an alley between our house and the next door neighbour. The bin for cardboard is in our back garden, and it was new and sealed, so I removed the seal which left a line of glue residue. The other bins were not new and already had our door number on them. The first week, I took our general bin out, and when I went to bring it back in after it was emptied, I found that someone had brought it to our back gate already. That was kind of them, I thought. The next week I took our cardboard bin out, and again when I went to bring it in, it was in the alley near our back gate, recognisable by the familiar pattern of glue residue. We have such kind neighbours, I thought. During this week, my partner had been unwell and was pretty much bedbound for 3 days. While I was looking after our baby and house by myself, I really appreciated the help. I did not tell my partner the thrilling story of bringing the bin in. Later that day, I was feeding the baby, and there was a knock on the door. My partner had now gotten up and he answered the door. Afterward, he came and told me that the next-door neighbour had lost her bin. She had left it in the alley, and now it was missing. She asked if we had taken it. He told her no, we haven't got ours yet. It's probably the lone one still left by the road. Oh no. I told him how I had found ours at the gate and brought it in. She must have claimed that one as her own, but only half taken it in. Oops, there was still one unclaimed, unnumbered cardboard bin, so she won't have to go without one. I took a peek next time I went out. The unclaimed bin has a tenant's box and Quavers packets at the bottom of it, as if they were stuck to the bottom when it was emptied. We don't drink or eat Quavers, so I knew that wasn't ours. Besides, I had recognised ours. This week, 4 weeks later, I put our cardboard bin out again, now with our house number on it, and again found it at our back gate after being emptied. I think it's the lovely older man on the other side of us bringing it in. He's offered to take them out for us. Today, my partner went next door to collect a parcel that was delivered there while we were out yesterday, and the neighbour, quite rudely, said to him, "I thought you said you didn't take a bin in," and that she still doesn't have one. He said something to the effect of "ours just kind of appear," which isn't technically a lie, took his parcel and left. The other bin remains on the street, unclaimed. Am I the idiot for taking our bin? Now, for a few comments before the update. Well, actually this post didn't have any comments now for the update, so it's been 2 weeks since the bin mix-up and things have settled down quite a bit. After the awkward encounter with the neighbour about the missing bin, my partner and I decided we should clear the air. We didn't want any lingering tension over something as silly as a bin, especially since we're new to the neighbourhood and keen to make a good impression. We baked some cookies, nothing fancy, just a simple chocolate chip recipe that my partner swears by, and went over to the neighbour's house. It felt a bit like a peace offering, and honestly, I was nervous. I didn't want to start off on the wrong foot with the people living next door. When we knocked on the door, the neighbour answered with a cautious look on her face. But as soon as she saw the cookies, her expression softened. We apologised for the confusion and explained that we had mistakenly taken her bin, thinking it was ours. We told her about the unclaimed bin still out on the street and suggested that it might be hers. She seemed to understand and even laughed a little when we told her about the tenant's box and Quavers packets that we found in the other bin. She admitted that she does enjoy a packet of Quavers now and then. It was a relief to see her smile and accept our apology, and the cookies. The neighbour mentioned that she had been stressed out because she was organising a big family gathering, and the missing bin was just one more thing on her mind. We chatted for a bit, and she ended up inviting us to the gathering as a way to meet the rest of the neighbours. It was a nice gesture, and we accepted. The family gathering was last weekend, and it was a lot of fun. We met several families from the street and everyone was welcoming. They were all curious about the new folks who had moved in, and we shared a few laughs over the bin story, which by now had become a funny anecdote. The older man who lives on the other side of us was there too. He's the one who had been bringing our bins in for us. We thanked him for his kindness, and he just waved it off, saying it was nothing. He's a retired gentleman who enjoys staying active and helping out where he can. We offered to return the favour whenever he needed it, and he seemed pleased with that. As for the unclaimed bin, it turned out to belong to a house a few doors down. They had been away on vacation and hadn't realised their bin was missing. When they returned and heard about the bin saga, they retrieved it with a chuckle. Now, every time we take our bins out, we make sure they're clearly marked with our house number. And when they're brought back to our gate, we always give a little wave of thanks to our neighbourly bin hero. The neighbour who lost her bin has been friendlier since the cookie peace offering. She waves when we see each other and has even offered to keep an eye on our place if we ever go away for a few days. In the end, what started as a small misunderstanding turned into an opportunity to connect with our neighbours. We're feeling much more at home now, and it's nice to know that we're part of a community that looks out for each other, even if it's just in the small matter of taking care of bins. It's the little things, after all, that can make a place feel like home. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Oh man, I've been there. When I first moved into my place, I accidentally snagged my neighbour's mail. It was an honest mistake, but boy did I feel like a schmuck. We all have those new to the neighbourhood blunders. It's how you handle it afterwards that really counts. Comment 2. Hey, why not leave a note on the unclaimed bin with your contact info? That way, if it belongs to someone who's just as confused, they can get in touch. Plus, it shows you're proactive about solving the mix-up. Good on you for wanting to make things right. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.